Right, today's really exciting because it's my first full day in the studio, so I'm going to be able to take you through some of the cue writing that I'm doing. I've got a list of things that I want to try to get done. I imagine I'll get 2 cues done today, hope so. I have had an email from Tom, who's the sound engineer from college, and he was saying that it might be good for me to go over there and have a look at the playback software so that I know what I'm doing when I actually mix these down. So that sounds quite interesting. I'll see if I can get back in touch with him. But otherwise, let's just crack on, get into the studio and start. Okay, so I've started sketching out the first cue, which actually opens the play. I mean, it's the opening of Act 1, but it obviously is introducing the play. And the only notes I was given for this were Scandi noirish intro, a sense of anticipation. So I've gone for my usual Scandi noir kit, which involves Tundra from Spitfire audio, which is the sort of Albion 5, really, I guess you'd call it. That's got lots of really sort of icy stuff in there. If I start playing that and solo it up, you'll hear just how cold that sound is. So that's air, ice and tratto. Layered with a consordino from Albion 1, just to give it a little bit of extra warmth. So that's still quite an icy sound, but it has a more silky feel to it than the Tundra. And then the final part of this initial gambit is a solo violin over the top. So let's just rewind a bit there and play that, and we'll unsolo those. And that's the Veer harmonic Bohemian violin. I don't know if anybody's using this, but it is absolutely gorgeous instrument to play. You don't have to use key switches. You can do if you want, but you just play it, and it's actually sensing your playing style and technique as you play the keyboard, and it was just such an easy instrument to play. Absolutely beautiful. So that's my opening gambit. I'm going to have to obviously do a little bit more work than that, because it sounds pretty sparse at the moment, but I am literally just sketching at the moment. I'm not going to put a lot of effort into arrangement until it gets signed off by the director. So let's just crack on, and I'll come back to you with the next stage. So I started work on this sketch at about 10:15. It's now nearly 2 o'clock. I'm ready for lunch, actually. But I'm going to play you what I've done so far, and then I'll just explain a few things about it. And then after lunch, I'll be moving on to the next one. So this is Anticipation. This is the opening section of the play. So there's that violin line has remained unchanged. You'll hear the Tundra coming in there. And the Albion 1. They're basically mirroring each other. But you'll hear how much broader the sound is now than it was when I started off. Stopping on that slightly unresolved chord, because you expect it to go back down to the la. Lovely singing, Tansley. So yes, what I've done, I've slightly altered Tundra and Albion, so there's a little bit more of a melody in there to counter the Bohemian violin. So you can see that there is actually a sort of melody line going on there. But I've also brought in an instance of Albion. Do you remember Albion? Oh my goodness, that was the first string library I ever had. This is what put me on to Spitfire. I think it had only just come out. and it's got a lovely, gorgeous texture to it. There are some imperfections in this library that I think are just genius. I don't know whether it was meant to be like that, but the sound is beautiful. I mean, if I solo that up and we have a sort of quick listen to what we've got running there. Let's run it forward a bit. Play that for you. Do love that sound. I mean, you're not going to be able to do separate sections with this library. It's a broad brush, but it's just beautiful, really. So I use this a lot, even though Albion 1 is out. And then just to really bolster things up at the low end, we've got the thunderous Iceni cellos section. So let's have just a quick listen to what's going on there. Oops, on the wrong one there. Sorry. So I'm bringing in a sort of melody there. So that's that. That cue, as far as I'm concerned, is good to go. This is just the sketch, the broad brush stuff that I will send to the director. I'm going to tick that off my list, actually. First tick, yes. And we'll see what she thinks of that. And then this afternoon I'm going to get on to the next one. Right, so while I was at lunch, I took the opportunity to email the director and CC'd in Tom, the sound tech, just to keep them up to date with progress. So as this is the first piece, I do want some feedback on whether I'm getting it right. But I've reiterated what the brief was for the track, so that that's very clear, and sent a link to a SoundCloud MP3, so they can have a listen and I'll know that you know, I'm going in the right direction. Now I've got a full day here, so I'm just going to crack on with the next cue, and I have got a cue in Act 1, but I'm going to go for the one that links between Acts 1 and 2, because those are fairly straightforward. There's no dialogue or anything like that going on, so let's see how I get on with that. So the brief for the next one was a linking theme into the night. Nothing is happening, so possibly regret for this lack of action. About 30 seconds long. And I started this off with just just noodling around on the piano, really. I came up with a little line, which we have a listen to here, and then layered a violin on top to link it in with that first theme. And then a little bit of Albion strings in the background just to tie it all together. So a very short, very simple theme. And what I will do now is exactly what I did with the one that I composed this morning. I'll download this onto SoundCloud, send a link through to the director along with a copy of the brief that I had, and we'll just see whether this sketch resonates and whether I can go forward then and properly arrange it. But anyway, we're well on the way, and now all I need to do is carry on with these sketches and wait for feedback to make sure that I am definitely going in the right direction. Right, so yesterday I had an email from Tom, and I don't think we actually need to get together. I think we understand, you know, what is possible. It's really amazing, actually. They're able to take stems and actually pan them anywhere they want around the auditorium, which means that if I give them 3 to 4 different sections of the music rather than a stereo mix, they'll be able to position those wherever they want. They'll also be able to do some live mixing on the night depending on what the room ambience is like. So that's really exciting, because I've never had a chance to you know, produce stems before. The only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is that I have heard nothing back about whether the music I produced last weekend is any good. Now, I don't know whether that's a good or bad thing. Might just be that Dorothy's very busy, obviously, with the play and everything. Makes me a little nervous, but I'm going to crack on today because I've got another day in the studio. I'm going to try to do the link between Act 2 and 3. But is it going well? I think it is. We'll see, won't we? Follow me on the next episode. Could be a disaster.